currently in California, you have a whole bunch of wildfires going on. Apparently, according to the officials over there, none of them have been stopped. Like none of like no, they're still going. There are neighborhoods that they didn't have water available when the fire trucks were trying to get to them. Apparently, there's some neighborhoods that didn't even have water available in the hydrants so that they could, combat the fires that are raging across the Palisades. And it's a pretty scary situation going over there, and I don't envy anybody for having to have to deal with this. One of the people who has apparently lost his homes is conservative Trump supporter James Woods. And apparently, a lot of people were jumping for joy and cheering over the fact that James Woods has lost his home, lost his house. And while I'm not going to jump for joy for anybody losing their home, I think it's terrible regardless. I do have some comments to make about it anyway, simply because some of the things that I've read that either he said or whatever that's going on with it is seems a little silly. He says, "It tests your soul, losing everything at once. I must say, I couldn't believe our lovely little home in the hills held on this long. It feels like losing a loved one." And if that isn't MAGA conservatism in a nutshell, I don't know what is. Why? Because MAGA conservatism seems to puts the value of, non-living entities as being equal or even superior than lives. He feels like losing a house is like losing a loved one. And I don't want him to lose his house. I'm not happy that he lost his house. I'm not going to jump for joy and cheer that he lost his house, but I think it's kind of weird that you would compare losing a house to losing a loved one. Now, losing memories, losing things that have actual memories to it, yeah, fine. There are things that individual things that may hold memories that you might not want to lose, and that's another issue altogether. But comparing the loss of a house to a loved one just seems to be really weird, but seems to be, you know, right in line for MAGA type conservative thought. But maybe, just maybe, he might decide to become a little more liberal in his old age. I doubt it. But why would I say that? Well, because of the fact that James Woods' homeowner's insurance canceled his policy a month before. And I think it's correct to say that he didn't cancel it himself, that it was his company that canceled it for him, i.e., they participated in an act of rescission. As far as it sounds, I could be wrong, but it sounds like that's what happened. Maybe James Woods will take a look at that and say, "Oh, well, these people are insuring houses up until the point where they feel that they're now gonna lose money, and then they stop insuring all the houses in the certain areas." But that's not how insurance is supposed to work. When you have insurance and you're selling insurance, you should be able to, rely on that service as a customer of that insurance to be able to hold on to that insurance regardless of whether or not they're having lots of claims in any one given year or not. One of the good things about the Affordable Care Act is that it eliminated rescission. It eliminated the ability for insurers to cancel policies just because somebody was too sick. Well, this is akin to canceling policies because an area has too much damage to it. Well, that's the point. You take the good years and you profit in the good years, but you're also supposed to put enough away in those good years to be able to absorb the losses in the bad years. It's one of the problems with property insurance that we have here in Louisiana, in that in order to attract more insurers to come write policies in this state, the legislature, in its infinite wisdom, decided that it was going to allow companies to cancel policies before 3 years. It used to be you had to write a policy and you had to have that policy there for 3 years before you could cancel it. Now, they've eliminated that provision. So now, you can write a policy until it starts seeming more dangerous for your company, and then you can just eliminate it, get rid of it, whatever. And now the person is stuck using the insurer of last resort, i.e. Citizens Insurance. And while there have been some changes made to Citizens that might bring some premiums down, the issue here is that Citizens is so expensive in the first place because it's where everybody goes when everybody can't find insurance anywhere else. But if you're writing insurance policies in Louisiana, you should be required to write insurance policies across Louisiana. If you're writing insurance policies in California, you should be required to write insurance policies across the state of California. And you shouldn't be able to cancel those policies that you've written, you know, in the middle of, especially in the middle of, like, you know, where you're getting fires or whatever. Because you're putting people at risk of losing everything. They've paid in all these premiums to cover their property, and now that you've profited from all these people, they're cashing out and leaving. Insurance is basically a gamble. You're gambling that the amount of money that you're going to pay up as an insured person is going to, in the long run, make it so that you don't have to suffer a huge hit if something bad happens to your property. Conversely, if you are a person who's writing insurance policies, you are gambling that you are not going to have to put more money out than what you take in, including, you know, proceeds from investments or what have you. But again, insurance companies have proven themselves over and over again to be a bunch of crooks, and that can't be trusted. So like in Louisiana, if you want to write policies, you should be able to write policies, or have to write policies in the entire state. If you're not going to write policies in the entire state, then you don't get to write policies at all. Let people buy into Citizens. Let the pooling effect take effect. Let it happen so that, you know, everybody can get a reasonable rate on insurance. And I'm sure the same thing should apply over anywhere. Then again, insurance companies were able to get rid of, for example, flood coverage by pushing flood coverage on the federal government because of the risk that comes with flood coverage. So, you know, and now in Louisiana, for example, they've managed to push off wind and hail as being a separate thing that has a higher deductible or what have you, and people have to pay huge deductibles on their houses before they see anything. Before seeing anything altogether. So, will James Woods have a change of heart and become more liberal in his old age, simply because of the fact that he's now seeing the end result of late-stage capitalism, the end result of what happens when greed takes over and wins the day? I'm not going to hold my breath, but here's hoping that maybe some people will, and not have to learn how to find out after they effed around. Anyway, what do you think? Agree, disagree? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and of course, have a good day.